Now, you do want to make sure your content works in different browsers, actually works at different screen sizes, and the content flows appropriately. So let's just take a look at the site. I'm going to go down here and preview this in Chrome, right? And in general, I can kind of see how this looks. Navigation's right there. I can scroll down. Obviously, it scrolls away. I'm not crazy about that. What if my navigation gets more complex and longer? What happens on mobile devices? So these are some of the things I need to think about as I'm developing this site. And what I want to do is I actually want to use Bootstrap. Now, Bootstrap really is a combination of technologies. It is a framework that includes HTML, CSS, JavaScript, and really it's just the foundation for building a robust site or web application. But in this case, I just want to use it for my navbar up at the top, at least for starters. So if I go into Insert, luckily, Bootstrap is built right into Dreamweaver. Okay, so this is, again, probably the most popular framework out there. So it's all of this code that I didn't have to write myself. Okay, and if I take a look right over here, oh, there is a navbar. That's pretty cool. But if I click on that little icon right there, which is a flyout menu, I can create a nav bar that's fixed to the top, the bottom, or even inverted if I want. But in general, I'm going to create one that's a nav bar fixed to the top. So selecting that, what happens? It adds it to my site. So let's take a look. As I've selected it, it actually added all of this HTML and CSS and some JavaScript. So you can see it right in here. In fact, let's just kind of take a peek at what it added. It's all right up here at the top. Again, this is my original bar, but this is, sure enough, the Bootstrap bar. Oh, it has a little drop-down menu. Thank goodness I don't have to make that. Another one over here. Let's take a look and see if it's responsive. As I grab this sidebar right here, we can see how it changes. As I shrink it down, you can see it changes just like that. And now we have that as a drop-down. I'm like, this is fantastic. All of this code that I don't have to write. Okay, so this is cool. But let's see what's going on right over here. Because what it does is it starts adding all these various files, this Bootstrap CSS. It gives me this absolute path. So the first thing you want to do is once you add it, so everything gets put in its right place on your site, you need to save your site. And I could do a save all is typically what I do. It says, hey, you know what? We're going to put all of those files in their correct place. So the Bootstrap CSS file is going to go in your CSS folder. There's a fonts folder that's going to be created and a JavaScript folder that's going to be created. I'm like, hey, that's fine. Whatever it takes to make it work. Done, right? Okay, so now it's just a matter of customizing this any way I want. So let's just take a look right in here. I can see this link, and as I select it, that's really this link right here. So I really need to replace these links with my own links, and I need to start getting rid of some of this other stuff. Okay, and a good way to see how this stuff is formatted is click on one tag and it will highlight the closing tag. So I can say, hey, you know what? I don't need that stuff. Delete, right? Same thing for this form. Of course, I don't need that form. For a lot of this, even this unordered list as I select it, you know, just kind of cleaning up, but essentially right here, this section, this is what I want to do. I want to actually take my navigation right here. I have this UL class called navlist that I've customized. So I'm going to copy that word and I'm going to paste it right in here. Okay, so it's going to customize it with those CSS settings that I have. Okay, so that's what I'm doing right there. Next thing I need to do is take all of these list items, cut them, removing this bar that I just don't need anymore. And right up here, let's just replace this bottom one right here. So I'm leaving the first one just as an example, moving that content in. But you can see it's added it in here. And the reason I like this first one is this first one has this class active. The fact that it says active says, hey, you know, I'm highlighted right here. I'm like, okay, that's great. I can actually take this, copy that word active, and put it for my home page. So space, just paste in active right there. So now home was highlighted, and I can get rid of this one right here. Super powerful. Let's save everything. Let's test this out in Chrome or whatever browser you have. And you can see my content right there. Again, scaling it down, that content disappears after a while. I click, I can see that they are right there as well. Okay, and I can even customize this further. These actually fit fine like that, but I can also stack them so I can get rid of the whole idea that they're floating to the left. But there you have it. I have now a fixed navbar that's also responsive, and it's going to work across different browsers and devices. All thanks to Bootstrap.